Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. What we learned as Steph fuels Team USA showcase win versus Canada. The first look at this year's version of Team USA men's basketball for the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics began ugly before turning the volume to dominance and hanging on for an 86-72 win against Canada at the T-Mobile Arena to open their slate of exhibition games. Team USA trailed 21-14 after the first quarter, where they turned the ball over 8 times, had only 3 assists, and were 1 of 7 from three-point range. The second quarter was a different story, giving Team USA a 41-33 lead. They held a 14-point lead after 3 quarters, going up 69-54 for the final 10 minutes of play. Steph Curry led Team USA out of the tunnel for pre-game warm-ups and was the first to make a shot for the home squad. Adjusting to a different ball, new dimensions, and FIBA rules, Curry was off his game in the first half. Coming out of the break, Curry found his rhythm and had a packed house roaring. Star power shined even brighter on the sidelines. President Barack Obama watched the entire game. Past stars of Team USA men's and women's basketball were honored. Legends galore took in the first glimpse of what should be a memorable summer, with more tests to come. Here are 3 takeaways from Team USA's exhibition win against Canada. An extremely slow start shooting the ball for the Americans promptly came to an end when Curry sank a 3-pointer off a pick-and-roll with Anthony Davis. Team USA was down 11-1 at the time, and there were only 5.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Those 3 points were all Curry scored in the first half. Once the second half began, Curry started heating up. Curry scored Team USA's first 9 points of the third quarter, first hitting a 3 right in front of longtime Warriors nemesis Dillon Brooks. The Golden State superstar then finished a smooth 3-point play at the basket, posing on the ground for fans, and followed that up by splashing a 3 from left corner. With Team USA up 76-65 and a little over 2 minutes left in the game, Curry and James Day was done. Curry played 19 minutes in the win, going 3 of 6 beyond the arc. He made his only 2-point attempt, as well as his lone free throw, giving him 15 points. Warriors' best move in 2024 NBA free agency. Whether Klay Thompson plays 1 more season, 10 more seasons, or retires tomorrow, he will go down in history as one of the greatest players to ever wear a Golden State Warriors uniform. He's a 5-time All-Star, a 2-time All-NBA player, a 1-time All-Defensive Team member, and a 4-time NBA champion who will forever have his number 11 jersey hanging in the rafters of the Chase Center alongside Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And yet, despite his pedigree, the decision to let him walk in free agency was 100% the right call, as was the decision to replace his minutes with not 1, not 2, but 3 top-tier free agent additions into Anthony Milton, Buddy Hield, and Kyle Anderson. After averaging 20-plus points per game on incredibly efficient shooting numbers in every season he played in since 2014-15, Thompson had a down year across the board for the Warriors last season, struggling to find his spot in a diminished role while having to come off of the bench for the first time since his rookie season. While Thompson still had his moments where he looked like his old self, as the season went on, the rumbling about his unhappiness grew louder and louder by the month, with some genuinely wondering if the team would trade him mid-season to a team like the Philadelphia 76ers who had expiring contracts. Fortunately, Thompson was able to close out the season with the Warriors, but by moving on from him when they did and replacing his spot on the roster with a 3-and-D guard like Melton, an elite sharpshooter in Hield, and a playmaking forward who can play solid defense in Anderson, a deceptive need after watching Chris Paul sign with San Antonio, the Warriors can add depth to their bench, spread out minutes across more players and save the best of Curry and Green for the playoffs should the team return to the postseason. Will it work? Only time will tell, but giving Thompson the same deal Dallas did or worse, the contract the Los Angeles Lakers offered up would have only set things up for further heartbreak down the line. Speaking with reporters ahead of free agency, Mike Dunleavy Jr. addressed the Warriors' current roster construction and how they plan to build things out into the future. Despite being linked to players like Lauri Markkanen at the time, who could still theoretically end up in San Francisco, in Dunleavy's opinion, moving off of the team's young player when they are still getting better just for the sake of veteran help would be a grave mistake. "I'm always a big player development guy. I think our younger players have a really good chance to get better, Pods, JK, Tracy, Moses. And then even our guys that we've had here for a while can get better. I think that's got to be the main thing, and then from there you see what else is out there. Can you make a move or a couple moves, do some stuff that enhances your team? That's the one thing we're hinging everything on," Mike Dunleavy Jr. said via the Mercury News. "We really value those guys. We drafted them, we've grown them. They've played really well. We're excited about them. A scenario to move them would take a lot. It's important for us to be good now and also be good in the future. But the main thing is, we think those guys can contribute and help our group now. If that was not the case, we'd be more open to stuff. But it is, and we're excited for those guys' growth this year. I expect them to be with us." Warriors may regret short-sighted move on $109 million trade bait. Depending on whom you listened to at the end of last month, either the Warriors insisted on Andrew Wiggins sitting out of the upcoming Olympic Games in Paris, or Wiggins and the Dubs mutually agreed that he should not play, not after a bummer of a 2023-24 season that saw him get off to a terrible start and not recover until well past the midway point of the season. Either way, Wiggins will not be suiting up for Team Canada this summer. And while the Warriors' interest in that is obvious, they don't want Wiggins to get injured training or playing with his national team. It may well have suited their purposes more to have Wiggins in action. "It was short-sighted, keeping him out," one Western Conference executive told Heavy Sports. "He is a tough guy to trade right now because, you know what he can do, he can be a star as a two-way player. But the last 2 years, he has slipped a bit and you just don't know why exactly. Having him in the Olympics, on that stage, he could show his worth again. So, the safe bet was to keep him out. But if you wanted to help his trade value, get him out there. I think they would have been better off with him playing." The Warriors are actively seeking a trade for a star-scoring option to put next to Stephen Curry this offseason. They tried to acquire Paul George, but that deal did not come together quickly enough, and George signed with the Sixers. Now, the Warriors are reported to be the primary suitor for Jazz star Lauri Markkanen. To make such a deal work, it's almost certain that Golden State would include the salary of Wiggins, who is entering the second of a 4-year, $109 million contract extension he signed with the Warriors. He is slated to make $26 million this season, a useful number when trying to match salaries with an incoming star. It's doubtful a team like the Jazz would like to keep Wiggins long-term, but he would have value as a potential asset they could flip for picks or players during the 2024-25 season, especially if he could rebuild value by playing well early next year. Wiggins struggled at times for the Warriors with an ankle injury last season. He averaged a career-low 13.2 points and shot just 45.3% from the field, 35.8% from the three-point line. There is some rebuilding to be done when it comes to his game. That process might have started at the Olympics. Except, Wiggins won't be at the Olympics. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Andrew Wiggins? Leave your opinion in the comments.